Good morning and good afternoon. I think it is 12:15. So good afternoon to each one of you and Honorable Dr. P.P. Mahendran, Dean AC and RI Madurai, and respected Dr. Shiba, Professor in Head Soil and Environment, and Dr. K. Kannan, P. Kannan, and Dr. Prabhakar, and all other beloved friends. It's indeed a pleasure to share my presentation with you, and I take this opportunity to thank the organizers to giving for giving me this opportunity to present my work. So, friends, I basically I was working at the Indian Institute of Soil Science from 2008 to 2023. I was there for 15 years. I got selected as senior scientist at Bhopal on 2008. And then since then, I have been working. And initially, I was working for 8 years as a scientist from Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation and Research Center, Kota. In Rajasthan, I worked 8 years. Then I got senior scientist, and then been presenting here. I've basically done at Bhopal Institute only. But however, the last month only I got selected as a head of the regional station at Central Soil and Water Conservation Research and Training Institute. Now it is being called as Indian Institute of Soil and Water Conservation Research Center at Fernhill, Ooty, Udagamandalam. So I have been the center of. So to start with my presentation, I have been given that whatever topic you've been selected and you can share your view. Then I chose my topic as conservation agriculture for sustaining soil health and carbon sequestration. And I think most of the people are aware about the declining, or you can say depleting soil organic matter, and majority of Indian soil is less than 0.5% of soil organic carbon. And we also follow imbalanced nutrient application also as against the ideal ratio of 4 is to 2 is to 1. These are all you know. And similarly, there are emerging multi-nutrient deficiencies, negative nutrient balance, around 8 million, million tons of nutrient imbalance is there, negative nutrient balance is there. Mining, I would say the word nutrient mining, because the amount of nutrient addition is less and then what we take. So there is a nutrient mining is also there. Foods, though we are attaining food security at 320 or 15 plus million tons of food grain production, still the stagnation in productivity due to multi-nutrient deficiencies. And then if you look into the slide and then the fertility status like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and low, medium, high. This nitrogen is low in 59% and phosphorus 49% and potassium 19%. This is the outcome of one of the DST project wherein they have mapped more than 177 districts in the India. So similarly, AGRIP, you are all aware, All India Coordinated Research Project came up with some kind of data that how much percent deficient of soil sample. And sulfur counted around 35%. Zinc contributes most 36-37% of nutrient deficiency is there in Indian soil. And similarly, boron also another one of the key micronutrient which is deficient in Indian soil at a larger extent. This was reported by Sutla. And then our key challenges in front of us is like increasing food grain production. However, with the existing land resources, same kind of land area, and uh, uh, we are also depleting the forest area, or you can say expanding the agriculture area, 25 to 35% occupying the forest area, and and we need to produce more food, but at the same time we need to take care of the carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere. That's all the key challenges in front of us. And as you all aware that soil health definition is given by the Carlin et al. That capacity of soil to function as a vital living ecosystem within ecosystem boundaries to sustain plant and animal productivity and also maintain or enhance water and air quality and promote plant and animal health. This is the everyone knows it. I think madam and your faculties professors used to teach these definitions in the soil science course. And as we all know that soils have different functions to do, and I'll slowly go this to these slides. And recently, we comprehend these things that different functions, like as you are aware that primary productivity, net primary productivity, what we call, then water regulation and purification, and carbon sequestration, provision of habitat and biodiversity, nutrient provisioning and cycling. This is the soil primary functions, and we need to be very careful in dealing with the resources, the soil resources. It's a finite natural resources, as you all there in one of the NCERT books. It is written, it is a renewable resources like that they have mentioned. Recently, we come up three different textbooks for 11th and 12th. I was the team leader for developing soil related textbooks for vocational groups. So I'm happy to announce that likely it will come. It is in press for last more than 1.5 years, ma'am. So I think it in subsequent years it will be 6 month. It get published for the vocational groups, say soil and water analysis. 11th and 12th standard we have written. So there we put all the functions and then creating the importance of the soil resources. So, as I mentioned, these are all introduction slides. Everybody knows it. Soil plays many functions and ecosystem services, and it is linked with the more than seven sustainable development goals. Previously, it was called the Millennium Development Goals. Later, and then out of 15 development goals, soil is linked with more than seven development goals. So, like climate change, biodiversity conservation, biomass production, pest and disease, and water quality and supply and erosion control. And all this linked with the different sustainable development goals. Then why we need to take care of the soil health? Because as I said, soil health is the primary uh, factor which governs many ecosystem function and services. And how to enhance the soil health means you have to improve the carbon content in this. That's what I have put in a different representation, that it by enhancing the, there is one pointer here. It's not working. This LED TV, no, it's not working. So the carbon plays a pivotal role, or you can say central role, in sustaining soil health, agronomic productivity, sustainable development, and 4 per 1,000 program. Every year there is a global program is there. We need to increase the 0.4% of the carbon to offset the climate change mitigation also, as I pointed out just now. So another thing is ecosystem. So we need to take care of the soil. And if you look into the data, global data set, that almost here it is underestimated. Our latest report says that more than 70 to 80% of the original carbon stock has been depleted by our anthropogenic activities. Like here, one of the best meta-analysis paper, Guo and Gifford. This is published in European Journal of Soil Science, wherein they estimated from forest to pasture, pasture to arable land, like that. One of the beautiful paper. Please refer this paper. And in that paper, almost 60% of the carbon has been lost for the last 30 to 44 decades of period. So that's what I mentioned. And for student point of view, that carbon in the soil system has more than 3 to 4 times as compared to the atmosphere and biosphere. If you look into the data, that soil carbon pools is around 2,550 pg carbon. In that, there are soil inorganic carbon, soil organic carbon is there. Soil inorganic carbon and around 950 pg carbon, and then soil organic carbon is 1,600 approximately. Whereas in atmospheric it is 760 to 860, whereas biotech is 720 to 800. This is one of the thing we recently published on one from Professor Ratanlal Source, and we have taken and then we published in one of the book, this one. And as I mentioned just now, that to improve the soil health, we need to take care of three different components. Like we need to protect the carbon, because carbon consists most of the essential elements like NPK, micronutrient and sulfur, everything. Because these are all basic things I don't want to repeat. You all aware. And you need to take care of the physical protection, chemical protection, and biological protection to enhance or improve the carbon in the soil system. The first question comes in students' or mind, anything. Why need to protect the carbon? Carbon, as I said, it involves all other biogeographical processes, and then it involves in global warming, clean environment, soil health, carbon sequestration, biodiversity, food and recreation security, and sustainable food production system. Everything depends upon how you protect the carbon, and ultimately it is linked with the soil health. Okay. This also we published recently in one of the frontier in sustainable food system. When I ran one editorial board wherein I depicted around 10 papers it came, and then I was the lead editor for that. So just I want to depict that how carbon is involved in this thing. So for the students' betterment, the sustainable soil management is equal to the land degradation neutrality. We need to manage soil in such a manner that it should not aggravate the land degradation process. That's what in key areas we used to highlight that how sustainable management should be there. If you look into this chart also, see the moment if you think about the sustainable soil management or managing soil health to sustainable soil SSL airline, then automatically it takes care of the land degradation because what are the factors which governs the sustainable soil management, like conservation of soil and water measures, and then conservation agriculture, like improving or incorporating crop retention, reducing the residue burning also one of the important factors, and as well as balance and integrated nutrient management. This is very well aware because most of the faculties are having that INM course is there. I think integrated management course is there. So similarly, in-situ recycling and the integrated farming system like what we used to call BMPs, best management practices, like GAP is also there, good agriculture practices. Two things are there. Always, as agriculture scientists or agriculture managers, we need to be take care of the soil resources because most of the things comes from soil. Even FAO report says that 95 to 98% of the food is being produced directly, indirectly from the soil. Only 2-3% from aquaculture and other kind of thing. So soil is vital for our food and nutritional security. This I am skipping, and this you all aware that we need to go for the regenerative agriculture to take care of soil and natural resources. And conservation agriculture. Coming to my topic, conservation agriculture is one of the pillar of regenerative agriculture. And as you all aware that this is the practice which is consists of three different you can say key parameters like minimum soil disturbances, maximum soil cover, and diversified cropping system involving cropping rotation and changing the cropping system. These are all we published in critical reviews in plant sciences, European Journal of Soil Science, and then soil research also we have published, and land degradation and development also. I published my work in these journals. Just this is the nutshell I am telling. Uh, how CA is being involved in ecosystem services. Conservation agriculture, shortly called as CA, and it involves in agronomic parameters also, hydrological parameter, physical and mechanical thing like improving soil structure, reducing soil erosion, and chemical properties also. It improves the nutrient cycling by residue incorporation, and then biological parameters also improves soil microbial biodiversity, soil microbial biomass carbon, earthworm activities like, and similarly ecological functions also reducing the carbon dioxide release into the atmosphere by reducing the residue burning also. This is the we prepared this one and published in critical reviews in plant sciences that how conservation agriculture involves in mitigation of climate change like that. And then this is the paper actually we publish along with the Professor Ratanlal sir also. So if you look into this, most of the combined harvester, they put a lot of 5 to 10 tons of residue on the field itself. So one of the easiest way farmers used to go for the burning of the residue. So to tackle with the happy seeder is being invented. I think many people might have this is a huge machine. It requires more than 35 hours for tractor to operate with. That is one of the biggest obstacle for non-adoption of the CA practices like conservation agriculture, or you can say no-till farming practices. So happy seeder is able to incorporate residue and in one go it manage the residue and at the same time uh, putting the seeds. So uh, you are reverting the residue burning through farming the no-till farming or say conservation agriculture. So you are adding 5 tons of residue every year. If you say, for example, wheat straw has 40% carbon, so 1 ton means 1000 kg into 40.4. It's a 400 kg into 5 ton. That is almost you are adding 2000 kg of carbon every year if you go for the right wheat system. I am only talking about wheat. And then if you take a right system also, rice itself 7 to 10 tons of residue is being added. So almost 3 to 5 tons of carbon is being added every year under rice wheat system, excluding root biomass addition. I'm only talking about the above ground biomass. If you take into the root addition also, you are doubling the carbon addition. That's what these are the management practices able to improve the carbon. Say, for example, rice itself, if you add 3 tons of carbon through root biomass addition, that is also adding the carbon. That one interesting paper is there. Root carbon is the soil carbon, because most of the above ground biomass we used to either burn or used to take away for animal feed and other alternative purpose. So root carbon, if you are able to increase the root biomass carbon, then we are able to increase the soil health. This is another paper, very interesting paper. Please go through those who are doing MSc and PhD on I forgot the author name. Root carbon and is important for soil carbon. Like some of the parameters we have done after doing, I have been doing conservation agriculture since 2009. I ran 3 long-term experiment. I leave it at Bhopal and came to Ooty. So one is we started around 2009, wherein we compared conventional farming practices with the conservation agriculture. And then another project through NICRA also, myself and Kannan was also there. Dr. Kannan got a NICRA project also. So we worked through NICRA project, and then we have quantified many parameters like soil aggregation. It's improving when if you minimize the number of tillage operations, as well as improve adding the crop residue. If we look into this other side of the graph, reduced tillage is nothing but the farmers go for 4 tillage operation, 3 tillage primary tillage followed by 1 sowing. That is 4 equal. You take it into account. And reduced tillage, you are reducing half of the tillage by 50%. Only one preparatory tillage followed by sowing. And then no tillage means no preparatory tillage. Straight away you are in one go zero till seedle or happy seeder. You go that one in that way, that is improving soil aggregation also. This is quantified through mean weight diameter. You all aware that mean weight diameter, how to quantify order apparatus there. Many people might have used. It is one of the beautiful instrument, very old system, but it gives 3 4 parameters in a one go. It gives the soil aggregation, aggregate stability, and you can go for a soil aggregate associated carbon also. So similarly, I said the water stable aggregates also improves under the no-till farming practices, and different cropping system also we followed, and most of the soybean wheat system and the maize gram system, the aggregate stability is improving, but not significantly different under the different tillage and management practices. So as I just pointed out that we have also quantified that how soil carbon is being improved through aggregation process. As I mentioned in different mechanism of carbon protection, soil aggregation is one of the possible mechanism protect the carbon for microbial attack. So the conservation agriculture practices helps in improving the soil aggregation, whereby the carbon also being protected in the aggregate. That's what even some of the experiment we used to get 3 to 4 of aggregate size of mean weight diameter, wherein outer surface of the aggregates being attacked by the microbial population, but inside the carbon is being protected. That's what this is a physical protection. Recalcitrant protection is also there. That is takes a longer, quite longer time. That's what we call as a soil scientist carbon sequestration. Takes 20 to 30 years of time to sequestered under the different perennial system like agroforestry, agri-horti, and permanent vegetation like. So these are the some of the trends I am sharing with you. Similarly, um, how different cropping system and tillage on carbon distributed under the different aggregate size. This is another carbon, as I mentioned, that this we published in European Journal of Soil Science. How different tillage practices and cropping system affects the carbon distribution under different aggregates. And we did de-adolescence activities, that how biological activities improve, whether it is improved through residue addition and minimizing the tillage operation. Yes, it is. And if you look into the two side, like conventional tillage, CT means conventional tillage, NT means no tillage, wherein different cropping system, how the de-adolescence activities improves under the continuous. It's not a short term one. After 4 years, after 8 years, we used to do this analysis now. Similarly, acid and alkaline phosphatase, these are the some of the enzyme which plays in nutrient recycling also. So this is also gets improved under the this CA based system. Here I would like to make, just I made a point, no, so just we want to study this one after 8 years of crop cycle. We started around 2009-10, and then after 8 years, we took samples like 0 to 10 centimeter, 10 to 20, and 30 to 30, and the different cropping system and different tillage system. And we compared to the conventional tillage like farmers practice, we reduced with residue retention and no tillage with residue retention like. So there is a clear-cut message I am giving here. The carbon content is improved under the 0 to 10 centimeter, beyond which there is no improvement. This is what I want to make a very clear point, is that beyond that, 10 centimeter, the CT or no tillage and RT behaves on par. This is what. So most of the carbon or nutrient stratification occurs in the top layer. So this is uh, the total organic content in the pictorial diagram, that in top layer only it is increasing, beyond the other layers it is not that much significantly improving. This is a nitrogen box plot of total nitrogen, how total nitrogen content behaves under this system. Uh, as I pointed out that no tillage or conservation agriculture promotes aggregation and also protect the carbon. As I just discussed about these things, I don't want to read this slide. And one more study I did in postdoctoral study, I did at one of the second longest learning experiment in the world. One is located at Ohio State University, or at Worcester and Whiteville. It started during 2000, 1963 or 4. This experiment started 1966. It's still running, more than 50 years old. And then here also, if there are different management practices are there. Conventional with zero nitrogen addition with the stubble burn. SB means stubble burn, SR means stubble retention. And then the same setup has been compared with the no-tillage system, stubble burn, zero nitrogen, uh, and no-tillage with stubble retention, zero nitrogen. Three different nitrogen management. I would like to make a point after the conclusion slide also. Here they compared zero nitrogen, 30 kilo, and then 60 kilo nitrogen. Now the 30 kilo has reached to 50, 60, 60 kilo of nitrogen reached 90 kilo after 40 years of experimentation. Because people used to think that if you don't till, or if you don't plow the soil, everything will be improved. It's not like that. If you go for no tillage also, you need to go for the optimum nitrogen application, which is the key for improving the carbon. Carbon, as you all understand, I think your teachers used to explain carbon nitrogen dynamics also. So nitrogen management is one of the key parameter which decides the amount of carbon being added into the system. At the same time, amount of nitrous oxide emit into the atmosphere. So optimum nitrogen management is one of the key parameter. I would categorically say here that many people often forget or often neglect that thing. But everything is goody thing is there. If you go for no tillage, minimum soil disturbance, adding residue retention, everything. But at the same time, we need to go for the optimum nitrogen application. This is the key for improving the carbon. This is also another set of data that how after doing 47 years of no tillage and crop residue, how much water stable aggregation, there is a significant improvement is there, but water stable aggregate stability, there is only 12% increase is there, but not significant different. And this is the just I want to quantify that how aggregation improved with the with in respect to the conservation agriculture. There is a sea change improvement is there. This is compared with the other set of treatment, conventional tillage treatments. This is also another set of data. And then if you look into that data also, TOC in Indian condition, we often see that 1%, 1.5 maximum forest soil, 3 to 4%. But in the Australian soil, this is the dirty soil. This is also black soil. Wherein if large macro aggregates, you see carbon content uh, is oscillating between 2 to 3%. That's what. Whereas small macro aggregate is half of that, and micro aggregate this is the nitrogen data. This is the total organic carbon data. So that's what the physical protection is being there under this one. And stocks also we estimated there is a improvement in 0 to 10 centimeter. Beyond that, there is very less information is less improvement is there. Another interesting thing I would like to share that this we did natural abundance of carbon, that is called a C13 carbon. C13 carbon, and then the carbon stocks also we worked out under the different treatment. Carbon stock, and this is the different set of treatment I explained. No? So 0, 90, retention, and then like that is double burn, double retention like that. If we compare this no tillage with this conventional tillage, you see the natural abundance always comes in the negative value. It is compared with the 100% carbon source, so the value comes in negative. The more is the negative, higher is the carbon retention. If you look into this no tillage stubble retention 90 kilo, the value comes in minus 90.71. The highest carbon retention. The natural abundance carbon comes in negative value because it is compared with the 100%. So that's what it comes in negative value. The higher the negative value, more the carbon retention. I would like to make it clear to the students that, and one more point that the C13, Delta 13 analysis revealed that crop residues have significantly contributed to the carbon, soil organic carbon. There is another possibility is there. You can also develop, you can also interpret which crop contribute more carbon, like C3 crops, C4 crops. You all aware. Grasslands, whether if you look into the data, we have that information also, but I am not presented here. That how much grass is being contributed, how much cereal crops is being contributed. That also work out. We can contribute comparing with the forest vegetation. We can have a perennial vegetation data soil sample from the adjoining forest area, and then you compare with the arable crops, and then you can find out that how much a perennial area means it is a grassland or perennial vegetation or forest land, that you can compare, and you can find out that that is the pristine ecosystem wherein carbon is this much, and this is the arable crop, how much carbon you can calculate, and difference you take a difference that how much this annual crop or arable crop contributed to the soil system. So natural
I was thinking when you are presenting only it contributes only to the 0 to 10 centimeter. Then I thought, what about forest vegetation? Is it contributing for the subsurface layer?
Yeah, because definitely. Forestry is it goes with the root system goes beyond 3, 5 meter like. So there is arable crop. Only we think about.
Do we have study that area? Forest system contributing to carbon stock in subsurface layers.
It is there, ma'am. Lot of studies are there. The forest.
Sir. Nalla study.
So like that, we developed the correlation regression equation also. If you look at the R square value coming 0.91, that it clearly indicates that the carbon contribution, the crop residue addition or C13, how it is linked with the carbon stocks. This is one of the interesting slide it came. And then once I discussed with my professor, he said these are the relations we can develop like that. Once I calculate stocks and C13 data separately was there. Then I prepared that regression to understand how it is behaving. The R square value is coming zero point 0.9 is significantly contributed that C13 data is significantly involved in SOC stocks like. So we don't have that facility here at but IRMS, that isotopic ratio mass spectroscopy. If you get any kind of funding, you purchase that one. IRMS, that is, it will be advanced study, but people are written many papers outside the country. But for us, there is some Baba Atomic Centers. There we can have the kind of facilities. But we need to have our own system for the students to have this kind of IRMS, isotopic ratio mass spectroscopy. It is within like very huge setup of instrument will be there. The whole building, whole hall will be covered from this to that side. So that 1 crore, I think, this budget. So you get this facilities through some project. Just I'll skip these slides. That And one thing I would like to share here is that generally what we think the carbon can be increased in the arable crop like 1 ton, 2 ton. Like meta-analysis shows that 300 to 600 kg only can be improved or sequestered in annual cropping system. The same amount of carbon is also being lost through the atmosphere. This is all then the net addition is zero. Like when our temperature reaches around 40 to 45 or 46 degrees Celsius, most of the carbon sequestered through that annual. That's what sequestration doesn't carry meaning in the arable crop. Like that, people also argue. Only in the perennial system you can talk about the carbon sequestration and all. In arable crop, that is Professor Ratanlal sir has estimated from one of the 300 to 600 kg carbon per hectare per year USA. The Indian condition also says, Australian condition also 200 kilo carbon per hectare per year. This is the kind of situation, ma'am. Actually, real. We may think that 1,000 kg can be increased or 2,000 kg can be increased per year of in per hectare, but the real situation is different. Say, for example, that is a USA, Australia. Watson has reported meta-analysis reported to 400 kg products per hectare per year to CA later. Okay. Okay. So the another interesting thing I would like to share with you all. This is one of the important information. The carbon stabilization and all we used to read. So how much time does it take to reach the carbon stabilization? Then go cohorts, and this is the Western Post. They said that it takes nearly 20 to 40 years in arable cropping system. It reached to the stabilization. Preferably, the BMPs should be proper. If you don't follow BMPs, the best management practices, then depletion takes place. If you go for a good agriculture practice or best management practices, then there is a chance of increasing carbon. And it may take 22. In some other cases also, it takes 50 to 100 years also. This we have experienced personally from our own uh, experiment. Sorry. This we have experienced on our own experiment. 50 years it has reached. We have compared a temporal variation of the carbon. Actually, in spite of following no tillage as well as nitrogen addition, there is a carbon loss is there. But the carbon stabilization it attained. But at the same time, the system is losing carbon. Though we are maintaining the best management practices, we cannot stop carbon loss, but only we can prevent the carbon loss. This is the statement I want to make. Any system is the moment you go for agriculture cropping, you are tend to lose the carbon, but we cannot stop the carbon loss, but we can reduce the carbon loss by adopting the very good agronomic management or management practices. That's what I mentioned, that we need to go for conservation agriculture involving conservation tillage or reduced tillage or minimum tillage, crop residue addition, and appropriate nitrogen management. These are the things I want to share with the audience, that these sustainable management practices helps to build up soil health, at the same time soil organic carbon. So this is the thing I want to share with you audience. Any kind of discussion, I am open to it. These are some of the slides I want to share, that we have recently published these things also. Some of my publications with respect to conservation agriculture. One of our article got the cover page of Agriculture Journal MDPI. Our article has been recognized as the cover page of that issue of the journal. So that is also one kind of thing. So just I put for audience. We recently published one book also, along with one of two of my mentors. One is where I did my postdoc, Professor Ramsi Dalal, RC Dalal sir, is 80 years old, and Professor Atanlal sir, he is also 80 years old. So recently I published this book. June only it is got published. Sustainable management, soil management beyond food production. So I'm open to discussion. Any kind of array of question, I am ready to face it. Thank you, organizers, for giving this wonderful opportunity to interact with all.
You had a lot of experience on CA. I know very well. Last 15 to 20 years you are working in CA. You come across with a different cropping system and cropping rotation with the different minimum disturbance. Which cropping system, so as India is concerned, which cropping system is capable of storing more carbon?
Actually, that cereal and leguminous based like maize gram system, though the residue contribution is equal to soybean wheat system, but maize gram system is more sustainable in terms of yield. At the same time, it increases the carbon content higher than the soybean wheat system. This is what I experienced. Rice wheat system also improves carbon, but that is very specific to the Indo-Gangetic plains and some of the river-based Kaveri Delta like that. But wheat may not come here in under our condition. Maize gram system, maize chickpea system is sustainable because we need to go for nitrogen application to maize or sorghum, higher addition. But in the subsequent crop, uh, you are going for chickpea. That is very low maintenance crop. Then that it is a nitrogen fixing crop. It fixes nitrogen and it will be utilized for the subsequent exhaustive crop. Similarly, soybean PGNP system, but that is both the leguminous crop. Soybean is also leguminous and PGNP also leguminous. But soybean intercropping system with PGNP or any intercropping with PGNP based system is a low input based cropping, but able to sustain higher amount of carbon and higher amount of nitrogen through nitrogen fixation. This is what I personally experienced. I worked with a different cropping system, especially in rainfed system. PGNP based system is very remunerative, and then maize based or maize and chickpea or maize plus PGNP also intercropping. It's coming up very nicely. This is what my experience now.
In terms of total carbon stock, we are using soil organic and inorganic stock. In the case of soil organic stock, organic carbon stock, how can we differentiate how our recent management practices add quantity, how much amount of carbon should be added. For example, not what slide you mentioned, crop residue addition, as you put the carbon, so it's a delta 13 is minus 90. So, what is the minimum period we need to experiment or assess the new carbon?
Okay. It's a very interesting question you asked. Depends upon the management practices, the amount of carbon addition is there. So for if you look into the different carbon pools also, like active carbon, passive carbon, and then many classification also there, like labile carbon, less labile, non-labile, Chan et al. Is there,
Yes.
and different category of classification is there. Which methodology you are adopting, and at least uh, 5 to 10 years of time period is the minimum period to assess the how much carbon, new carbon is being added. So as per my understanding, it's my opinion, but the particulate organic carbon, which is occluded in the mineral associated carbon, no, that is kind of more recalcitrant or less labile carbon, not not prone for microbial attack. That's what a recalcitrant carbon is having a higher resident time. You can store for 100 years, like biochar 1,000 years, like that they say. But you can go for more resident time for the recalcitrant carbon. For a new carbon addition, soil priming and all, carbon priming and all, you might have read. The moment if you apply for the higher addition of carbon into the system, and for decomposition of the new added new residue or new fresh material, the old carbon is being depleted. That's what the soil priming used to they call. So there is some sufficient time, at least 5 to 10 years is required to understand that how much new carbon is being added. And moreover, every year if you add the root biomass addition is there. So as I discussed with the meta-analysis data also, 300 to 600 in US condition, that is temperate condition. Ours is subtropical, tropical climate condition. So maximum you can go up to 500 kg of carbon addition per year per hectare under arable crop. I am talking about arable crop. If you change the land use system like agri-horti system, agri-silvipastoral system, then there is more inclination or more addition of carbon is there due to residue addition at the same time by root biomass addition. If the moment that's what people used to tell about the net primary productivity. The Keith Passion paper, if you're able to see these, they are the Nobel laureate for climate change regulation and all. One of the key parameter when I was writing some paper, no, I was unable to justify my study. Then I keep on read many things. Then he was saying that nitrogen addition is important to improve the net primary productivity. That we are all doing. We are only concerned about the nitrogen application, forgetting about the phosphorus and potassium. So we need to go for the uh, nitrogen application so that the above ground biomass and below ground biomass, just now I was discussing, improving the net primary productivity means if yield is coming good means we are already taking care of the below ground biomass. So root carbon is being added. So in this way we can do, but to give more clarification on what the questions you asked, uh, the microbial biomass carbon is a transient carbon. The moment if you go for residue addition, there is a sudden buildup of microbial biomass carbon is there, but it may not be permanent. It may deplete and then subsequent season also. That's what residue addition helps in building up of a soil aggregation. The residue addition, the moment you go for the residue addition, there is a fungal hyphae. Microbial population improves, fungi group improves, then thereby it promotes aggregation because it has a hyphae, it binds the soil aggregates, whereas bacterial population comes down. That's what the NT favors fungi based microbial population. That's what improves the microbial diversity, and similarly it improves the carbon also. That's what it's what they call active carbon. Active carbon, immediately the carbon biomass, microbial biomass carbon gets improved, and substrate activities also gets improved due to microbial activity. I think these are all you are very well aware. I'm just endorsing the you are all teaching. You understand the very basic things. So probably maybe repeating some of the thing.
I think for Kannan's question, we can analyze permanent manure experiments with different cropping systems.
I came across with Madam Sangeeta has done some work on data.
He has done. Yes, he has done on on payment basis. There is some facilities are there at Delhi. You can do that. How much carbon is being added through the system?
The permanent manure system adopted.
Because here in Tamil Nadu, particularly we have long-term experiment also. We have a different cropping system. Right, but peculiarly we have now.
It's also run with different cropping systems. So
we need to identify the dominant cropping system.
Yes.
And then we can find out that originally that like Madam is telling that permanent manure or long-term fertilizer experiment, there is a control where there is absolute control where there is no fertilizer applied, or there we can compare with the 50 years or 70 years of continuous application, and that too we take a pristine ecosystem or a forest vegetation. We take samples and compare the control versus the one of the best management practices like 100% NPK plus FIM, 5 tons of FIM added. That is the best one. It is coming. If you look into the data set also, even 150% NPK plus FIM also they are adding it. Super optimal.
Yes.
One is suboptimal, one is optimum, and super optimum. Super optimal is 150 NPK, 150% nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium plus NPK, and 100% NPK plus FIM. You can compare, and then in comparison with the control, you can find out that how much take is.
So normally, in long period of time, we are suggesting this kind of conservation agriculture. But in my perception, it is not at all followed in Tamil Nadu anywhere so far. My question is, if we go with some sort of conservation agriculture practices, normally we are adopting rice or cane or banana. Is there any yield reduction, or the percentage of yield reduction would be of how many percentage?
Yes, exactly. This is a very good question that we often advise farmers to go for this one, better management practices. You go for this one. But the moment you go for the CA-based, NT-based system, no-tillage-based farming, the yield reduction, yield penalty, what they say, is 3 to 5 quintal per hectare. It's 500 kg, 600 kg less. I'm telling about wheat. Paddy, I don't have experience on working at the paddy because in IGP there is that. But data says that there is a yield penalty at the initial level, initial 3 to 4 years. And then regarding that, and after that, due to that improvement in carbon, soil aggregation improvement, soil structure improvement is there, better hydraulic conductivity, but rice system is a waterlogged system. And when compared to the wheat system I am talking about, there is a improvement is there after 3rd to 4th year. And a soybean wheat system, I personally experienced initially 3 to 5 quintal yield, that is 500 kg yield reduction will be there, initial adoption. Because you rightly asked that the percentage of adoption of conservation agriculture is very less in India compared to the worldwide record. If you look into the USA, Australia, the more than millions of hectares they have adopted. For us, still the area under adoption is 3 to 5 million. That too, we don't know exactly. Recently, we published one paper, critical use in plant sizes.
Production of capacity, they have.
Yeah, they have. That too, they calculated based on, definitely. This, if you look into the data or review also, less than 1% of area under India is being adopted CA. So the area under adoption is 3 to 5 million hectare. We published recently in critical use in plant sizes. In entire South Asia, it is less than 5 million hectare, madam. But in worldwide, if USA and Australia and all, they have millions of hectare, a large area under CA-based system. 210 million hectare is being covered worldwide. But in Indian condition, if you look at it, less than 5 million hectare. One of the basic reason is that the mindset of the farmer, first thing, socio-economic condition of the farmers, and then non-availability of the equipments for the small scale farmers. Because apple cider requires a large field, and then it requires a 35 horsepower tractor, but farmers may not have that heavy duty tractor, and then the cost of the equipment is 1.2 to 1.5 times for lakh per hectare. Sorry, the per unit, lakh per unit. 1.15 to 1.35, 1.5 tak அது வரையும் வருதுங்க ஆக்சுவலா. அது வந்து அந்த ஆப்பிள் சீடரோட இது இருக்கு இல்லைங்களா, ஒரு இல்ல அந்த இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட் பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்றதுக்கு ஆப்பிள் சீடர்ன்றது வந்து கல்டிவேட்டர் மாதிரி தாங்க. இட்ஸ் a combined kind of thing. It cut the residue and also sow the seed. பஞ்சாப்ல பாத்திருப்பீங்க இல்லைங்களா, அது வந்து ஒரு யூனிட் வந்து டிஸ்கவுண்ட் இதெல்லாம் போனோடனே 1.3 1.4 அது மாதிரி வருதுங்க. முன்னாடி 2 இயர்ஸ்க்கு முன்னாடி வந்து 1.1 1.2 வரை இருந்ததுங்க. 1 lakh வரையும் சப்சிடி கொடுத்தாங்கன்னா 1.1 1.2ல நீங்க லேக் பர் யூனிட்ல வந்து நீங்க பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்ணலாம். பட் எல்லா ஃபார்மராலையும் நம்மளால வாங்க முடியாது இல்லைங்களா. தெர் இஸ் a மணி கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின் அண்ட் சோஷியோ எக்கனாமிக் கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ஸ். அப்புறம் வந்து மைண்ட் செட் ஆஃப் த ஃபார்மர் ஆல்சோ. அடாப்ஷன் நீங்க சொன்னீங்களா, அதுக்கு நான் ஜஸ்டிஃபை பண்றது, அடாப்ஷனுக்கு முக்கியமான காரணம் வந்து மைண்ட் செட் தான். நம்ம படிக்கும் போதெல்லாம் யூஜில வந்து go for the clean till and then powdery preparatory just to plow and then make a field like powdery condition thing for fine seed bed preparation, fine tilth. One of the terminology we used to study is fine tilth. Now the concept has changed. Now we are advising farmers don't go for tillage. Then there is a question arises there that previously we used to go for the fine seed bed preparation, fine tilth like. Now we are not advising to go for the tillage operation. These are the two contrasting thing we are infusing on them to adapt the thing. And another thing is that you keep one clean tilled field and adjacent to the CA based field. And one clean tilled field looks very good in nature when compared to the residual retention field. This is also one of the criteria. Farmers always need to have their field very neat and clean. Whereas CA-based system, if you look into the system, there is a residues there, some weeds will be there. This is another socio-economic, or you can say attitudinal thinking also matters in adopting this. This is the where every time the first question, your question comes when I complete my presentation. Immediately, what is the yield penalty? What is the adoption rate of the CA-based system?
But in some parts of our Ramanathan district, just after the harvest of the rice crop, they will, without this rate of plowing and all, they will go for cotton.
Okay. Actually, if you remember, the already system is there in rice system. Before harvest of the rice, when I was doing 10th and 12th standard, they used to go for the black gram sowing. This is what now in eastern India, Uttara crops, they used to call that this Taladi system. Before harvest of the rice crop.
Also have some problem. We can go with that kind of black gram in normal or coarse textured soils or with fluffy type of soils at all.
Okay.
At that time, there will not be any problem, even if you are going with any heavy implements for the harvest of the previous crop.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you are having fine textured soil or medium textured soils, then that crop will be affected. The germination, so it is being germinated, it will be affected. So that was the question raised by our previous Ramanathan board collector when I was presenting on thing. But I suggested that relay cropping is not at all possible for Ramanathan district since it was having a different type of textures. So unlike our Thanjavur district, we have another type of texture. then ultimately accepted. So what I want to convey here is relay cropping is only followed under poor structured soil or under fluffy type of soil. Other areas it is not at all possible, or it is not as successful as that of the previous.
Yeah, yes, sure.
So in that case, I just want to have another one question, sir. Will it be affected the real water requirement of the crop? So far you have studied on one dimension of the area, especially the carbon. Here I just want to know, okay, once carbon is improved, aggregate stability is improved, what about the water requirement?
Yeah, very good question. This is also we have data. This is also we have data. We have been doing a CA-based system, sprinkler, flood, and then drip irrigation. There we came out one interesting information that if you go for a wheat system, because in central India, soybean wheat system is there, rice wheat system is there. Wheat system, if you go for CA-based system, because most of the time southwest monsoon occurs in the June to September. So rainfall automatically water availability is not a major concern until otherwise some dry spell happens in between the crop growing period. Then if we go for irrigated cropping system, we go for 4 to 5 irrigation and the normal flooding condition. 5 centimeter depth of irrigation if you give, up to 5 irrigation will give. But a CA based system, if you adopt a CA based system with residue retention or drip irrigation under the CA based system, one irrigation you are saving.
Instead of 5 will go
4. Even 3 to 4 also we are getting as good as the 5 irrigation yield. That is the conventional farmers practice. So this information we have generated, but due to paucity of time, I have not put all the thing. Only which is very relevant because we have to focus on soil health and carbon. Because the moment the carbon improved, you can say aggregation improved, water retention capacity also improves. So you made a very excellent question that you have not talked about the water retention. There is improvement is there, moisture content improvement is there, 10 to 15% improvement is there. In the dry spell condition, if you take a moisture content between the different tillage system or farming system or conventional farming and conservation farming, then moisture improvement is there due to improvement in the physical properties like soil aggregation, soil structure improvement. So the moisture retention capacity is prolonged under the CA-based system and compared to the CT or the conventional tillage-based system because you are breaking the pore space or porosity. You are breaking the pore continuity rather. I would say pore continuity. Whereas here you are improving the pore continuity so that the moisture retention is prolonged under the CA-based system. That's what you might have seen or read biotillage. The biotillage is promoting higher or biotillage is higher under the no tillage or CA based system, conservation agriculture based system, wherein you are not disturbing the soil system. Whereas in CT, conventional tillage, you are repeatedly tillaging or plowing 3 to 5 times, and you are breaking the aggregates also. Whereas here you are not tilling and you are just spraying the herbicide and going for the sowing of the crop. Then the moment previous year root crop dies and decays, there is a channel happens and that act as a biochannel. Biotillage, like one terminology you can search also, you can find it. Biotillage happens here, thereby more amount of water happens. Even I have seen one more thing share, and then if you wish, I can conclude or we can continue. And there is a
another important area, sir, because we just want to know.
Yeah.
Even in
only
no. What is the example you share? No, that is the best answer, illustration for the answer he has given. Followed by paddy cotton system is for in Ramnad.
that is
To say that.
That's very interesting, ma'am. That is what Thaladi system in the rice followed by black gram, then rice followed by that cotton also. One of the best system exploiting. That's what it is documented also. Exploiting or exploring or utilizing the antecedent moisture, what previously available moisture to establish the crop without having any irrigation.
irrigation.
1 or 2 irrigation. That is very
That's a
interesting.
very good practice.
So once crop attains 15 to 20 days or 30 days of age, then automatically if you give one rainfall happens or one irrigation, then it
irrigation by any means.
any means you can have a livelihood of the farmers. This is what the very thing. And another thing, when rainfall happens, I used to visit where a clean tilled field having impounding of water, erosion takes place, sheet erosion or kind of rill erosion will be there. Whereas in a residue retention plot, within 1 or 2 hours, most of the water gets drained. This I taken photo, I have not put here. Right now I don't. So this is everything that very interesting thing that we are using the existing excess moisture
By means of the clean
water.
we are removing all such weeds out of the area.
Dr. Prabhakar, you have made a very excellent question that water is the critical input. Whatever we talk about carbon increase, soil health improves. Without water, nothing agriculture cannot survive. So conserving the water also important. That is the very purpose of CA-based system. It not only conserves soil resources by reducing soil erosion. Very purpose of the invention of CA-based system is minimizing wind erosion, wherein you create the surface roughness, keeping residue. US 1930s, 40s, they have invented this one. It came during 1990s, like RCTs in IGP, Indo-Gangetic Plain. But we lately adopt these things. But they have already proven everything documented, water conservation, everything they have proved.
We are studying.
Any questions from students?
Students, I will be more happy if you ask 2-3 questions. If I am unable to answer also, then I feel happy.
In CA, we are primarily focusing on 3 principles. One is crop diversification, village, and then
Crop diversity. Okay.
regarding that crop diversification, we can do because Indian condition more crops we are cultivating, but the minimum tillage, if you are skipping the tillage, the soil will have a surface soil will have some crust and compaction.
Yeah.
Crops like finger millet and all, it's very small seed. So we can put means how it will germinate. Is there any management strategy for that?
But millets, minor millets, I didn't work. I don't have experience in that. But I can, in general, I can answer to your query or question that there is evidence that bulk density is higher under the CA-based system due to you can say due to non-frequent tillage operations. CA-based system bulk density is higher when compared to the conventional tillage-based system. This is the proven record. But in other side, just now I was telling that there is a biotillage and then poor continuity is there. Then that is offsetting the higher bulk density also. Offsetting means that is overcoming if bulk density also improved or increased rather, then root growth restriction is there. I understand from your question that if the moment the bulk density increased under the CA-based system or no tillage-based system, then root restriction will be there. Whereas in conventional tillage, there is no increase in the bulk density because you are frequently disturbing soil. Then some kind of loosening of soil is there. So root growth will be proper. Whereas here there is a compaction is there. I also noticed this thing, but this is overcome by the higher amount of residue retention and then root biomass addition. The earlier years roots are decaying, and then if you take a clod, I have photographs also. Take a lump of soil and then break it, and then you can see the channel is there, root channel. Roots are decayed, and then it creating channel. Then that problem is being overcome. The compaction problem is overcome by the continuous residue addition as well as minimum disturbance of the soil. That's what even people are suggesting. Go for every 5 year slight tillage, but not heavy harsh tillage. Heavy tillage you should not do. Only slight tillage, minimum slight like they use light tillage. The word they use slight or light tillage, like not using a sisal plow or MB plow. Only use a tine cultivator or duck foot cultivator. Is there here? I don't know in Tamil Nadu whether duck foot cultivator.
Our time.
Time.
Nine.
The depth only you reduce only 5 to
Five-
5 centimeter light tillage you do so as to overcome this compaction.
Furrow.
This is what I also experienced.
Furrows. Just to will open the furrow.
Ah.
5 centimeter.
That is kind of light tillage. Thank you for putting a very right question. Sometimes, see, once you work, that is okay. But at the same time, what he was saying that one aspect is okay. Everything goody things, acha, நல்லா இருக்கும். At the same time, other aspect like water conservation, weed management, one of the challenging weed management. Whosoever is agronomy, they can understand. Higher weed incidence will be there. Crop looks very shabby. That's what here crop looks very neat and clean, lines and all visible. Here, pest and disease. So as a system, you have to read, study. As a system, CA system, you have to see agronomy, weed management, pest and diseases, and crop yield. Everything you have to see. Water conservation, nutrient conservation, everything you have to see in total. Then only we can able to say that the system is sustainable.
So no more questions from student side. Okay, then we'll wind up the session.
Okay, ma'am.
We'll end up with a vote of thanks.
Thank you. I will also say thank you.
Okay.
I take this opportunity to thank Dr. P.P. Mahendra sir, Dean Agri, AAC and RI, for giving this opportunity, wonderful opportunity. I would say the word wonderful opportunity to interact with the faculty, esteemed faculties and beloved students, and sharing my experience. Hopefully, I might have conveyed the topic I have taken, and my sincere apology if I have not conveyed something in a better form. Everything, every time, if I say to the students also for improvement, as a faculty also, I strive hard to improve myself. If some of the questions I didn't answer, it in sleep also it comes. I have not answered properly, like because I am more kind of soil loved person. I used to sleep at that time also. For Dr. Prabhakaran question, I should have answered like this, or like Dr. Kannan question or Dr. Siba madam question, I should have answered like that because I love my subject better than myself. So I keep on thinking. I used to get disturbed also. My daughter used to ask that why you wake up in the middle of the night. Then this is the kind of the love and affection I have and my profession and my subject. So that's what I encourage this as students also to love your subject more than yourself. Then subject automatically comes to you. This is what I read from my professors. I studied from my professors, like Professor K.K. Madhan is my guru as well as guide in my MSc, and PhD Dr. P. Savitri Madam was my guide, and Dr. Krishnasamy sir also. There were two guides at that time. One is a person who is providing the fellowship, another one is providing the guidance. Today I stand before you and deliver the lecture because of their blessings only. I am nothing in front of them. They are my teachers, they are my gurus, and through them only I got many knowledge. I always acknowledge my all writings. I acknowledge my teachers and my gurus. Without them, I am nothing. So I take this opportunity to thank my gurus also and my teachers for giving a small knowledge on soil science. Only one person I might be having on soil science. So thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
So it is my great pleasure to propose vote of thanks. It is first of all, I thank Dean Postgraduate Studies. He has a keen interest to conduct the guest lecture. He was supporting financially, supporting to conduct. I think we have completed 4 guest lecture in our department. So thank you, sir, for your supporting for this guest lecture. Then I thank our dean, Yasindara Madurai. He was instrumental to conduct the program. So first part we completed the Viva voice. Then the second part is our guest lecture. So he is showing interest. I think last 2 days he is asking what is I think plan of conducting guest lecture, and he was showing a keen interest to see the I think receive the guest speaker. And yes, morning he asked, yeah, we meet guest speaker. Then morning I met sir. Then I thank you, sir. Then I thank our postmate. He was very instrumental for conduct the training program. He was very keen to follow the all our activity. So thank you, madam. Then our guest speaker. I think Sir was very known to me last 10 years. We were working together. Sir was working on CA. I am working on biochar. So 2010-11 we met at Nikra at Grida Center. And he was very keen. He was well experienced in CA practice. He has come across last 15 years. So 15 years working in a single field is will give more, I think, strength to deliver the scientific forum. So I think from his answer, we asked many questions. He has properly answered all our queries raised by our all the audience. So thank you, sir, for your excellent lecture on conservation agriculture. So I think I think you have quoted some of the literature, very interesting literatures across the globe, not only in India, it's across the globe. You had a lot of vast experience. You have been working postdoc fellow in Australia. Then you meet, I think, Ratan Lal is a leader in the carbon. He got a, no, I think, World Food Prize, I think, 2020. So you had a very good close relation with the top scientists working in carbon. So it is our, I think, opportunity to learn many things from you, our student young mind. I think future soil scientists, I think, and they experienced CA directly experience the CA practice, how it influences soil health. Thank you once again for your excellent lecture on CA. Then all our colleagues, senior from Dr. Prabharan, Associate Professor, and Dr. Saliga, Professor Soil Science, are all part of this program. Thank you, sir. Then our student friends. So you are all the vital part of our, I think, program. So it is a program. It is a guest lecture for mainly arranged for our student developments. So this kind of lecture will, I think, ignite your minds. I think sir has thrown some light on CA. It has many dimensions. Just to take a small, I think, concept, we can develop a project. You can go for PhD. This is an area. So I think innovative area in terms of soil health maintenance. You take some. I think sir thrown some light on CA. You take some part of the light, then you can start to spread the light. It is very important. So whenever you start the program, you will start with lighting. So sir has thrown the CA practice. You take the light, you can spread the all over the India. You can take as a challenge to sustain our soil health. Thank you. Then I thank our I think Department of Economics and head of the Department of Economics. They provide the I think hall facilities, seminar hall facilities, and other amenities for successful conduct of this event. Thank you once again. Thank you.